Hi, you guys, and welcome back. I am here in my lovely RV. We recently purchased an RV, and my RV has turned into my tiny home, also my yoga studio, also my meditation suite, if you will. I love being over here. I enjoy it so much. And today I was sitting here meditating. And after I meditated, I saw one of the books on my stands. And it reminded me that I have not talked to you guys about this book that I feel is so super powerful. And if you have not read this book, or you can even listen to it on Audible, it is so worth the read, you guys. I am telling you, you will thank me later. I have quite a few spiritual leaders that changed my life at the initiation, or when I kind of first started going through my Dark Night of the Soul event and first started to realize that I was having a spiritual awakening. But this book that I want to introduce to you guys today, and I want to do a mini series on, this came afterwards. This came well after I knew what was going on with my spiritual awakening. And this book just came right on time because it was reaffirming things that I had already come to know through my spiritual awakening. And the way in which this author put it in words, because oftentimes you'll find that people who have gone through a spiritual awakening or who have been enlightened, words and vocabulary and language oftentimes feels very limiting when we are trying to explain what is going on. So I can always appreciate an author who is able to write it down and put it in words that are very concise and, to me, better able to digest, if you will, as they are explaining what is basically really going on out here. The author of this book is Eckhart Tolle, and the name of the book is The Power of Now. Oh my God, you guys. This book is absolutely phenomenal. And I take this book everywhere I go. I always have it on my shelf. I always have it out on display. This book is phenomenal. I personally did the Audible first, and then after I listened to the Audible a few times, because it's one of those books, you guys, where after you read it, every time I revisit this book, I pick up something new. And so after I listened to it on Audible a few times, I then wanted to have the hard copy as well. And so as you guys can see, I have read through the hard copy as well. I've taken a lot of notes, circled things and everything. And so today I wanted to go ahead and share with you guys The Power of Now. And I just want to read some excerpts from it and then tell you guys how this really kind of resonated with me, and how it kind of like really allowed me to see life and reality for like what it is, as opposed to all of the programming that we have been fed since we were children. Okay, if you guys haven't already, be sure to like the video, share the video, leave a comment if you like. Definitely let me know if you've read this book already and whether or not it resonated with you. So let me just read the sleeve here. It says, to make the journey into the power of now, we will need to leave our analytical mind and its false created self, the ego, behind. From the beginning of the first chapter, we move rapidly into a significantly higher altitude where one breathes a lighter air, the air of the spiritual. Although the journey is challenging, Eckhart Tolle offers simple language and a question and answer format to guide us. The words themselves are the signposts. For many of us, there are new discoveries to be made along the way. We are not our mind. We can find our way out of psychological pain. Authentic human power is found by surrendering to the now. We also find out that the body is actually one of the keys to entry into a state of inner peace, as are the silence and space all around us. Indeed, access is available everywhere. These access points or portals can all be used to bring us into the now, the present moment, where problems do not exist. It is here we find our joy and are able to embrace our true selves. It is here we discover that we are already complete and perfect. Many of us will find that our biggest obstacle to this realization is our relationships, especially our intimate relationships. But again, we are in new territory, and all is not what it had seemed before. We come to see that our relationships are yet another doorway into spiritual enlightenment if we use them wisely, meaning if we use them to become more conscious and therefore more loving human beings. The result? Real communion between self and others. If we are able to be fully present and take each step into the now, if we are able to feel the reality of such things as the inner body, surrender, forgiveness, and the unmanifested, we will be opening ourselves to transforming experience of the power of now. So throughout the book, you guys, he basically, the book, like they said in the introduction, is put in a question answer format. Okay, so the question is presented, and then he has, he presents an answer. Okay, he starts off the book with, "You are here to enable the divine purpose of the universe to unfold. That is how important you are." I trust that this book will find its way to those who are ready for such radical inner transformation and so act as a catalyst for it. I also hope that it will reach many others who will find its content worthy of consideration. Although they may not be ready to fully live or practice it, it is possible that at a later time, the seed that was sown when reading this book will merge with the seed of enlightenment that each human being carries within, and suddenly that seed will sprout and come alive within them. The book in its present form originated, often spontaneously, in response to questions asked by individuals in seminars, meditation classes, and private counseling sessions. And so I have kept the question and answer format. I learned and received as much in those classes and sessions as the questioners. Some of the questions and answers I wrote down almost verbatim. Others are genetic, which is to say, I combined certain types of questions that were frequently asked into one and extracted the essence from different answers to form one generic answer. Sometimes, in the process of writing, an entirely new answer came that was more profound or insightful than anything I had ever uttered. Some additional questions were asked by the editor so as to provide further clarification of certain points. You will find that from the first to the last page, the dialogues continuously alternate between two different levels. On one level, I draw your attention to what is false in you. I speak of the nature of human unconsciousness, and dysfunction, as well as its most common behavioral manifestations, from conflict in relationships to warfare between tribes or nations. Such knowledge is vital, for unless you learn to recognize the false, as not you, there can be no lasting transformation, and you would always end up being drawn back into illusion and into some form of pain. On this level, I also show you how not to make that which is false in you into a self and into a personal problem, for that is how the false perpetuates itself. On another level, I speak of a profound transformation of human consciousness, not as a distant future possibility, but available now, no matter who or where you are. You are shown how to free yourself from enslavement to the mind, enter into this enlightened state of consciousness, and sustain it in everyday life. Chapter 1, You Are Not Your Mind. The greatest obstacle to enlightenment. Enlightenment, what is that? A beggar had been sitting by the side of a road for over 30 years. One day, a stranger walked by. "Spare some change," mumbled the beggar, mechanically holding out his old baseball cap. "I have nothing to give you," said the stranger. Then he asked, "What's that you are sitting on?" "Nothing," replied the beggar, "just an old box. I have been sitting on it for as long as I can remember." "Ever looked inside?" asked the stranger. "No," said the beggar. "What's the point?" "There's nothing in there." "Have a look inside," insisted the stranger. The beggar managed to pry open the lid. With astonishment, disbelief, and elation, he saw that the box was filled with gold. "I am that stranger who has nothing to give you and who is telling you to look inside." I love that. I love that line. Not inside any box, as in the parable, but somewhere even closer, inside yourself. "But I am not a beggar," I can hear you say. Those who have not found their true wealth, which is the radiant joy of being and the deep, unshakable peace that comes with it, are beggars. Even if they have great material wealth, they are looking outside for scraps of pleasure or fulfillment, for validation, security, or love, while they have a treasure within that not only includes all those things, but is infinitely greater than anything the world can offer. Love that. You guys can see I've like made all kind of notes around there. The word enlightenment conjures up the idea of some superhuman accomplishment, and the ego likes to keep it that way. But it is simply your natural state of felt oneness with being. It is a state of connectedness with something immeasurable and indestructible, something that almost paradoxically is essentially you, and yet is much greater than you. It is finding your true nature beyond name and form. The inability to feel this connectedness gives rise to the illusion of separation from yourself and from the world around you. You then perceive yourself, consciously or unconsciously, as an isolated fragment. Fear arises, and conflict within and without becomes the norm. I love the Buddha's simple definition of enlightenment as the end of suffering, end quotes. There is nothing superhuman in that, is there? Of course, as a definition, it is incomplete. It only tells you what enlightenment is not. No suffering. But what's left when there is no more suffering? The Buddha is silent on that, and his silence implies that you'll have to find out for yourself. He uses a negative definition so that the mind cannot make it into something to believe in or into a superhuman accomplishment, a goal that is impossible for you to attain. Despite this precaution, the majority of Buddhists still believe that enlightenment is for the Buddha, not for them, at least not in this lifetime. You use the word being. Can you explain what you mean by that? Being is the eternal, ever-present one life beyond the myriad forms of life that are subject to birth and death. However, being is not only beyond, but also deep within every form, as its innermost, invisible, and indestructible essence. This means that it is accessible to you now as your own deepest self, your true nature. But don't seek to grasp it with your mind. Don't try to understand it. You can know it only when the mind is still. When you are present, when your attention is fully and intensely in the now. Being can be felt, but it can never be understood mentally. To regain awareness of being and to abide in that state of feeling realization is enlightenment. He has these different points here, you guys, where it kind of looks like an S. And when you are listening to the audible, it sounds like boing. And he created those parts in the book for you to pause and really think about what he just said in the chapter or in the paragraph before. When I think about what Eckhart Tolle was saying, you guys, and why this book is so powerful, is that it forces you to stop and realize that the only thing that matters is the here and now. The past is in the past. It's done. It already happened. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing to happen in the past. It's over. The future is in the future. And so instead of having these feelings of anxiety or anticipation or stressed about what's to come, instead just simply live in the here and now. Just simply live in the moment, because it literally and truly is the only thing that matters. Is the here and the now. Oftentimes, you guys, I think if you stop and take a beat, you'll realize that oftentimes the things that you feel shame about, guilt about, the things that you feel anxiety about, worried about, are either things in your past, shame and guilt, or feeling anxious or worried about what's to come or things in the future. And if you guys can get your mind around that there's nothing to feel shame or guilt about because it's in the past, so it's irrelevant. There's nothing to feel anxious or worried about because it's in the future. It hasn't even happened yet. Now the only thing that you're left with is the now. Do you guys see how much stress, anxiety, shame, guilt, depression could be alleviated or eliminated from your life if you would just not even focus or concentrate on either one? not the past nor the future. But just live in the moment, because that's the only thing that is important, is the here and the now. When we think about it, oftentimes the things that the media and the programming is filled with is fear. You pay attention to the news, all they are programming into your mind, into your psyche, is fear. Fear of what's going to come. This is an election year. Oh my God. All of the news does this, you guys. You have the Republicans saying, oh, you know what? If you guys elect that Democrat, oh my God, you better be fearful, because this is going to possibly happen and that is going to possibly happen. Then you have the left and you have the Democrats going, oh, if you guys elect that Republican, oh, you better watch it. You're in danger. This could happen. This could possibly happen. This might happen. When in actuality, no one actually knows what's going to happen. But the Matrix is literally set up that way, you guys, to constantly be programming us. They started programming us from the day we were born. Your parents were programming you. Teachers were programming you. The government is always programming you, so that they could create these humans of basically what I consider to be like the majority of people, just robots, just programmed to move the way that they have told you to move. When you're watching the news, it's constantly programming fear into you guys. And then you're wondering, why am I feeling so anxious? Why do I feel so fearful? It's because you've been watching the news all day. Or you've been listening to different people telling you, you need to be scared about this. You see what's happening at the border? You better be worried. You need to be fearful. You need to be scared. When if you guys would remove all of the programming and just go within, connect to your own higher source. It's you. Connect to your own higher source and just be present in the moment. You guys will realize soon, and I know you guys, this takes time. This takes practice. This is not something that you can just do overnight, simply because it has taken years of programming to get you to where you are now, to get you to this point of always in a state of anxiety, always in a state of fear, always in a state of feeling shame or guilt about something in the past that you can't even change. It has taken years of this programming. But if you guys could take a baby step and just say, the past is the past. There's nothing I can do about it. It just is what it is. There's no need for me to try to make it right, try to go back and correct it. No, it's over. It's done. Put it in your rearview mirror. It's over. Don't even think about it. Don't give it any more of your attention. And the future hasn't even happened yet. So don't even waste your time worrying about it. Worrying about who's going to be the next president. Worrying about what's going to happen at the border. Worried about jobs. And if you're going to have a job. And worrying about AI. Don't worry about it, you guys. Spend as much time as you can trying to bring yourself back to the here and now. Trying to bring yourself back to the present. All of your power, you guys, is in the now. I want to take this journey with you guys and really go deeper, delve deeper into this book of the power of now. Because I want to be a reminder to you guys that when you find yourself drifting off in thought about what if in the future, what if this happens in the future, what if this happens in the future, or what about the past? This happened to me in my past. I was traumatized in my past. And you're giving all of your attention to these things. I want you to start to realize, when you do that and you're giving those thoughts to the future or to the past, I want you to try to stop yourself and say, I can't do anything about either one of them. The past is gone and the future isn't even here yet. And when you stop, you guys, and start making decisions from a place of love, from a place of we are all connected, from a place of we are all one, from a place of we are all just branches from and coming from the same source, and to not worry about anything. It is so liberating, you guys. I find that I implement this in my life often with the mantra of, I say this often either out loud or in my mind. I just always say, when I'm presented with a problem, or when I'm presented with an issue, or when I'm presented or I find myself being concerned about something, for me, it's not usually something that happened in my past, because I have gotten very good at, you know what, it's that's over. The past is the past. It's over. I'm not reliving that. I'm not giving my attention to that. But when I find myself thinking about what ifs in the future, I will still find myself doing that. Not a lot, but when I do find myself starting to be fearful of, oh, what could happen? What if this happens? I just simply stop myself, you guys, and I say this mantra. It all works out for me. And I believe it. You can't say these mantras, you guys, but you don't really believe it. Like another mantra that I always say to myself, and I believe, is I'm wealthy. I'm wealthy. And I don't mean just wealthy, I have a lot of money in the bank. I'm like, I am wealthy. I have a tribe of people that support me, that love me. I am wealthy in my knowledge. I am wealthy in abundance of my love. That's what wealth is for me. It's not material things. It's I am wealthy, meaning I can, for the most part, just be happy with very, very little. I can be happy walking in the park. I can be happy just walking around my neighborhood. I can be happy just watching my vegetables grow in the backyard. Things like that, I just find so much joy and peace and love in. Say to yourself these mantras, you guys, and I promise you, it will help you stay out of the past, and it will help you stay out of these moments and times and a mindset of fear of what's to come in the future. Just say, it always works out. Just say, it'll work itself out. Everybody's worried about all these job layoffs and AI. I say to myself, it'll all work out. We're about to just enter into a different paradigm. We're just about to enter into a new way of living. I'm not worried about it at all. I see people making all kind of videos, and they so worried about, relationships. They're worried about getting laid off. All this what if. They're worried about the upcoming presidential election. Start saying to yourself, it will all work out. There's nothing for me to worry about. Start reminding yourself that worrying does nothing. But more importantly, it can be detrimental to your health, to your psyche. You guys know stress will kill you faster than anything. My new way of living is, if you stress me out, I don't care who you are. Family members, friends, strangers. I remove you. I just simply thank you for bringing that to my attention, that you are someone who stresses me. And then I just release you. Don't allow stress into your life, you guys. Stress from the news, stress of thinking and worried about the future, stress of the shame and stress of worried about the past and reliving those stories. Just say to yourself, the only thing that matters is now. That's why they call it a present, the present. It's a gift to remind yourself. The only thing that is important is now. That hasn't even happened yet. I don't even know what's going to happen with the next presidential election. I have no idea. And nor is it my job to try to figure it out. I told you guys one of the very first things that happened to me when I went through my spiritual awakening is I just let it go. I just released and let go of religion. I just released and let go of politics. I just released and let go of race. I just let it all go. Because to me, I don't think that you can truly have the belief of we are all connected and we are all one, but still practice all of these different things and paradigms that do nothing but divide us. Republicans against Democrats, whites against blacks, Hispanics against black. Like it's all just to divide us, you guys. My religion against your religion. All of these things, my nationality versus your nationality. We just have found different ways, humans, to just divide ourselves. Because we are still, most humans are still stuck in this illusion of separateness. So we just invent all of these different things and ways to just further divide and separate us. Because we are still, most people are still asleep. And they don't realize that we're all one. I'm sorry, I get really super passionate about this one, you guys. That we are all one. So when you find yourself entering into a debate about politics, when you find yourself entering into a debate about who's right or wrong when it comes to a religion, who's right or wrong when it comes to a nationality, who's right or wrong when it comes to a race, just know that you are part of the problem. You are part of the system. You are still deeply entrenched in the program of division and separateness. There is no separation, you guys. We are all one. And the sooner that you guys can wrap your mind around the fact that the only thing that is important is now, right now. And to come to a place of making decisions from a place of just love. You are my brother. You are my sister. You are my fellow kind. We are all the same. So there's nothing to compete about. There's nothing to fight about. I am here to remind you. You come from source. You are source. There is no division between the next human and the next human. We are all just avatars in different branches coming from the same tree, coming from the same source. There's nothing to worry about, you guys. There's nothing to be anxious about. Remember to live in the now. Remember to operate from a place of love and inclusion, peace, joy. And now that we are all just here now, that the here and now is the only thing that's relevant. And Try to find your own mantras, you guys. Whatever that mantra is that can keep you grounded in that idea and that concept of none of this really matters. This is the Matrix. It's a game. It's an illusion. I came here to have fun. I didn't come here to be battling and fighting the next person. I came here to enjoy this life experience. I hope that I encourage you guys to try to become more cognizant of those times throughout the day where you disconnect from the now and you start reliving trauma, or you start feeling feelings of shame and guilt over the past, or those times in your day where you start worrying about the future and who's going to be the next president. What's that going to be? Should I be concerned? I want you guys to become more cognizant of those times throughout your day where you dip back in the past or start worrying about the future. And remember, neither one of them matter. The only thing that matters is right now in this moment. Okay, you guys, that's all I have for you today. We're going to continue on in our mini series of the power of now. I hope I have reminded you guys to stay focused, to enjoy life. You came here to enjoy life. You came here to live. You came here to love. You came here to be happy. I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.